As
All right,
perfect.
awesome. Well, welcome everybody. And as Maddie just said, as you come in, please mute your microphones. We are so thankful to have you here today. We want to take this webinar in particular to
Mhm.
kind of slow down and do a check-in.
Yeah.
May is a mental health awareness month. And so we want to take that opportunity just to kind of go over some different topics concerning mental health in the workplace, especially through that lens of the blind and visually impaired worker, or if you're just a job seeker, because we know what the stress is like these days, and taking that time to check in with yourself and maybe adopting some more strategies would be very productive. So I have Maddie here today
Yeah.
and Catherine as well. That's me. Heather's our lovely assistant today, letting you all in and recording. If you have a question, please drop it in the chat. We'll take
Mhm.
some time to review those questions towards the end, and we will get carried away. Maddie?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. We have a special guest here today. This is David Wright. He is someone who has, just clinical experience, lived experience with this topic that we're going to be talking about today. It's such an important topic, and I want to be mindful of this conversation that we're having today. So, David, I'll let you kind of give a little bio of yourself, but we're so
Okay.
glad you're here.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be back on the WSB campus. So, a little bit about me. I have a graduate degree from the University of Arkansas at Little Rock in social work.
Mhm.
I am a licensed clinician. Um, I did my first 6 years here on the WSB campus. I
Mhm.
served as social worker and case manager. Uh, Left here in 2018 and went to work in community mental health. And I am currently at Centers for Youth and Family,
Mhm.
where I serve as a clinician doing mental health evaluations, treatment plans, and therapy on a regular basis. So I
Yeah.
practice CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy.
Mhm.
We utilize dialectic behavioral therapy, which kind of provides you with coping skills
Yeah.
for stressful situations. And then I'm trained in EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing,
Mhm.
which is a trauma based therapy. So,
Yeah. And we're just so glad you're here with us. I'm
Yeah.
glad you took time out of your busy schedule. You have interns, you host interns, social work interns.
correct.
You have your own client caseload.
Hmm.
And so we're just so thankful you took time to come and talk to us. So this is just going to be just a conversation we're going to have together as we just learn from you and just discuss. So we're so glad you're here. We kind of want to start off with how do you manage, workplace stress as a blind and visually impaired employee yourself?
That's a really good question. As a blind and visually impaired individual, um, accommodations are needed from time to time,
Yeah.
and it's important to go into the position that you're going to be working in, communicating with your employer.
Mhm.
Let them know what your needs are. Educate them.
Yeah.
People who don't have any sort of disability or live with a visual
Mhm.
impairment don't understand. They don't know what we go through on a daily basis. They don't understand the accommodations that we need. So be honest with your employer from the get go. Let them know that, hey, I am going to need a 19-inch monitor, or I
Yeah.
am going to need a keyboard with large print letters.
Yeah.
It's been my experience with where I work. My employer has been, more than willing to provide the accommodations I've needed.
Mhm.
At centers, each therapist gets a laptop.
Mhm.
For some who are blind and visually impaired, that's not an option.
Yeah.
So I did communicate that with my employers, and they were, more than happy to accommodate.
Yeah.
So I mean, just be open, be honest, have the conversation. Don't hesitate to educate people.
Mhm.
For those who are not familiar with that type of disability,
Mhm.
they don't know. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave, I'm glad you brought that up. So we've had some webinars in the past. They've been strictly employment focused. So how to
mhm,
like attain employment, how to keep that employment,
right.
navigating online job applications. And something we hear time and time again is to come with some type of portfolio of, this is what I need or this is what I've done. And so it kind of sounds like that would almost kill that, bird with one stone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When you go in for the interview, you're going to get the opportunity to ask questions, to make statements. At that point, you want to say to them, I've got the experience, I've got the
Mhm.
background,
Mhm.
I would make a great employee. However, I need some accommodations
Yeah.
to do my job effectively, and to let them know at that time, educate them on your needs.
Mhm.
Um, and, most of the time they should be willing to cooperate and
Yeah.
provide you with those accommodations.
No, very much so. I've personally, I have a lot of employers when they come and talk to me, it's mostly just what do I need to do, not so much being turned off of what that means.
Right.
Mhm.
Something you kind of prompted in my head was that it sounds like that communication is just a huge piece of being
Mhm.
able to articulate yourself well, but also like to communicate with yourself of what it is I actually need.
Right, right. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a good idea to kind of make you a checklist
Yeah.
of, if I get this job, these are the things that I'm going to need to be able to
Yeah.
be successful.
Yeah.
And it's so important. And I want to mention this too, because I have seen so many times where individuals with a disability or who are blind or visually impaired, when talking about this, have a tendency to get a little defensive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
so important to communicate in a calm
Yeah.
manner, um, be respectful, keep keep that voice tone at a calm level,
Mhm.
but just try to maintain good composure, good posture, and just maintain that calm attitude when making these requests.
Yeah, because I know that it can be frustrating when having to like repeat
Absolutely.
yourself and
Absolutely.
prove that you need these
Yeah.
things.
Yes. Yeah.
So when you do have those times when you feel like you are proving yourself or trying to prove, or like you have fear of just being seen as like, I'm just difficult,
Mhm.
or this is too much.
Inadequate.
How do you navigate those thoughts of, maybe, I think that I have talked with some people of like maybe that's what's keeping them from entering the workforce
Yeah.
is the fear of like having to advocate your needs and feeling like you're too difficult or this is too much or whatever that is. Like
Yeah.
how can you combat those thoughts?
So part of the problem, I think, is people will come in and, let's say for a blind or visually impaired individual, you're going to come in and you're going to have some requests. You want to go a little further than saying, okay, for me to do this job effectively, I'm going to need a large print monitor. I'm going to need a large monitor. I'm going to need a large print
Mhm.
keyboard.
Mhm.
I'm going to need this. I'm going to need that. Don't just throw that out there.
Yeah.
Give examples of how those tools are going to provide you the ability
Yeah.
to do your job more effectively.
Yeah.
Well, I can't really use a laptop, but the large print monitor is going to allow me to read the screen more effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give examples on how each of those tools is going to benefit
Yeah.
your ability to do your job.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just justifying
Yeah.
those.
Well, not only that, like it sounds like you're coming with a solution mindset rather
Yeah.
than a here's a problem mindset.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Don't just come in with requests, but have those solutions ready, or have those explanations, or be willing to educate that employer
Mm.
on what your needs are, why, and how they're going to be effective
Yeah.
for you.
Oh, it's really
Yeah.
good. So moving into kind of our next topic, there is already a lot of anxiety, I feel, that
Yeah.
comes with a new work environment or just working in general. I
Yeah.
think, everyone experiences some sort of anxiety, but how would you like advise like people who are coming into the workplace, they have a lot of anxiety and maybe they feel like, that imposter syndrome, like we talked about before,
Oh
like
my
that's
God.
real.
Yeah,
That's
that is such a real thing. There's an article on that, and I wish I could remember the name of the article and who wrote it. But if you'll do a Google search under imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
there's an amazing article on what that looks like.
Yeah.
And there are some tips on how to overcome that. But
Mhm.
that is such a real thing. You get into a new environment.
Mhm.
And personally, I have experienced this myself early
Yeah.
in my career. I used to sit in the office and wonder, oh my God, do I really know what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I, have I received the training I need to take on the responsibility of helping these people with the problem.
Mhm.
And you question that, you really
Yeah.
do. Um, so with, when you start a new job, questioning your skills, that's a problem.
Yeah.
You're going to run into that. As a person who is blind or visually impaired, that just intensifies that
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Because not only now do you have to prove you have the knowledge to do the job, but you have the ability to do the job
Mhm.
as someone who is blind or visually impaired. And I have learned over the years that for someone who's visually impaired, you almost have to work twice as hard as everybody else to prove your value, your worth, and to prove that you can do the job just as effectively as everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you cope with that? That's a good question.
Yeah.
First and foremost, you've got to have that self-esteem. You've
Mhm.
got to believe in
Mhm.
yourself. You've got to develop that self-worth. Um, that's part of why I say it's so important to educate your employer, educate your coworkers, because they don't have any idea of
Yeah.
what it's like to walk in your shoes.
Yeah.
So provide them with the knowledge that they need on the most effective way to interact with you.
Mhm.
Be polite, be courteous, be friendly, go out of your way to interact with your coworkers, participate in meetings, show them that you're just as qualified to be there as they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to be very helpful and very beneficial when trying to overcome the imposter syndrome. And the
Mhm.
more you do it, the more the coworkers will see your value,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, they'll also probably because even a sighted person's going to come in with that imposter syndrome,
absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
it's kind of sounds like, be confident even when you're not
Mm-hmm.
confident.
Mm-hmm.
And I can definitely see, especially with a blind and visually impaired person in particular, because everyone trips, everyone
Yeah.
runs into something,
Yeah.
everyone misplaces something. But, whenever you're blind and visually impaired, it feels like everyone acts like that's times 10.
Yeah.
And it's the exact same thing as everybody else, but it's
Yeah.
something that can really shake your confidence. If you're being perceived or feel like you're being perceived as something, way worse than what's completely normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I'll go as far as showing my human side. When I made the decision to leave WSB
Mhm.
and go a different direction in the therapy field, I was terrified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had been here for 6 years. I was in my environment
Yeah.
with my people, so I was comfortable. I
Mhm.
knew what I was doing, but I was also surrounded by other professionals who were also blind and visually impaired. So I was in that comfort zone.
Yeah.
When I made the choice to go over to community mental health, I knew that I was going to lose that.
Yeah.
I was going to be around sighted people,
Yeah.
Mhm.
people who did
Who
not
don't know.
understand or have a clue what being visually impaired was like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I knew I had to seize the opportunity to educate,
Mhm.
to let them know that I'm just as qualified as you are,
Mhm.
but work twice as hard to prove my
Yeah.
self-worth. And that was a very stressful first year,
Yeah.
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at the point now where I'm very comfortable around the people I work with. I'm very comfortable around my bosses.
Mhm.
They know what I'm capable of,
Yeah.
and they know that if I need something, I don't have a problem going and asking for it.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, you're gonna feel like you don't belong there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But as time progresses, that feeling will go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gain that
Yeah,
confidence.
you will gain that confidence.
Your
Absolutely.
steps,
Yeah.
I
for
think it's
doing that.
important to, like you're saying, is really to be proactive.
Mhm.
I mean, truly being proactive,
Absolutely.
kind of preparing ahead of time, even before you go into an interview. And then the job is kind of knowing all the things that we're talking about, like how can you best prepare yourself
Mhm.
Yeah.
for that role. And I know you're not going to be prepared for everything that's going to come at you, but as long as you know that a boss told me once that if you're not making mistakes, you're not learning.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so that kind of made me feel like a little, like put a lot of like my fears
Yeah.
at ease, because I was like, it's okay. Like I am going to make mistakes. That's just that's inevitable. Like I am going to make mistakes, but as long as I'm not making those a pattern or a habit,
Yeah.
then I should be good. Like I can learn from them and
Yeah.
grow from them and then move forward. We don't ever want to keep going backwards and backwards and backwards. We want to just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
So um I think that being proactive is a really good way to kind of prepare yourself. Did you have I
I
thought
mean,
you
you just, the best advice I ever received was from Vivian at Ross and Younger in Jackson, Mississippi. And if she sees this, I hope she knows that I think about her often. It's because what she said plays in my head constantly, which is there's not a single mistake you can make that we cannot fix.
Correct.
Just don't
yeah.
make it
Correct.
expensive.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's something I take with me. I'm like,
Yeah.
if I'm working on something, there's nothing I can do that's going to cost them a bunch of money. So let me just get into it.
Yeah.
Let me just do it wrong. It'll all be fine.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like I tell my interns all the time. They come in new and they have never done this before. And they're like, oh, well, what if I say something wrong? And I tell my interns all the time, you're not going to break anybody.
Yeah.
If you say something wrong
Yeah.
or you feel like you say something wrong, it's fixable.
Mhm.
I am always in the room with you.
Yeah.
So, that kind of helps
Yeah.
them because interns are bad with imposter syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
They come in terrified and not know what
Yeah.
to do.
Oh yeah.
So, but one of the things that I teach in therapy is role play.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
When
good.
you're interviewing for a job
Mhm.
or you're going to approach a supervisor requesting accommodations or you're going to participate in a meeting or something, role play that.
Yeah.
When you're at home or when you're by yourself, go through a variety of different scenarios that could pop up and just practice
Mhm.
what are you going to say. Also make yourself some notes. Writing doesn't forget, so make yourself some notes on the approaches you want to take, the things you want to ask for,
Yeah.
like the accommodations, and make notes on how that specific accommodation you're asking for is going to allow you to be more productive.
Yeah.
So notes are very helpful. Role play is very helpful.
I love how this keeps going back to that communication, the checklist.
Yeah.
It's almost, it's so complicated, but it gets so simple
Yeah,
too.
it
It's
does.
just so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So going in all that with especially the fact that this can be just any workplace in any situation for anybody can be overwhelming. Could you share with us a little bit about how accessibility kind of affects mental health, either when it's working or it's not working?
Oh, absolutely. So if you don't have it and you need it, you're going to get stressed out
Yeah.
Yeah.
in a nutshell. I, for one, use Windows Navigator quite a bit at
Yeah.
work. I can enlarge the screen or I can activate the talk mode. It's very helpful because, excuse me, I have to read a lot of therapy notes
Yeah.
and I get eye fatigue. And when that happens, I can just activate narrator and it will read it to me.
Mhm.
And I can, do the things I need to do that way. If that was not accessible, the eye fatigue is going to be overwhelming. It's going to cause stress. Um, I'm going to experience maybe a little anxiety
Yeah.
because I can't get my work done as quickly as I need to or would like to. Um, so, like I said before, don't be afraid to ask for those accommodations because without them, they can cause you to experience that anxiety or that fatigue.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. What are some, I know we talked a little bit about like coping strategies. And you talked a little bit before we even jumped on here. But could you give some like good coping strategies for daily like workplace challenges?
oh, absolutely. This is my favorite part right here. So, boy, I got a bunch of these.
So exciting.
Okay, so coping strategies. Yeah. Um, like I said before, writing does not forget.
Mhm.
If there are things you need to remember, write them down. So here's my daily routine. I get to work about 7 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
Start working on my dictate or on my session notes from the day before. One of the first things I do is create a to-do list.
Mhm.
One through whatever. If I'm seeing 8 patients in a day, I'll have 9 or 10 things on my to-do list. The number one thing you want to do is the thing you hate doing the most,
Yeah.
do it first.
Mm.
Because by getting that one thing done, you create an amazing sense of accomplishment.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
As you're going through your day and completing each task on that to-do list, take you a black Sharpie or something, scratch it off. When you see that black mark across that task, that indicates it's been done,
Mhm.
another sense of accomplishment. Um,
Yeah. Or that list just getting smaller.
Yeah, that list just
Yeah.
getting smaller and smaller. Other strategies you can use. There are some, we mentioned a while ago, dialectic behavioral therapy.
Yeah.
So there are some coping strategies that we teach for workplace stress
Mhm.
or academic related stress.
Mhm.
One is called the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique, and that's real simple. You can do this at your desk.
Okay.
So basically, what you're doing is each number represents one of your senses.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you're identifying 5 things you see,
Mm.
4 things you smell, 3 things you taste, 2 that you touch, and 1 that you hear.
Okay.
Now, if you're blind, you can obviously adjust that a little bit to the 4-3-2-1
Yeah.
and eliminate the 5 things you see. So you can, that is adaptable.
Mhm.
The other one is a lot of times you're going to feel overwhelmed at work
Mhm.
Yeah.
or at school
Yeah.
because of the demands. There's a technique that I teach called safe place, and it's the way it basically works is you imagine yourself in a place, total peace, total serenity,
Yeah.
someplace where you feel safe. You can be alone, you can have someone with you. You're going to imagine the sounds you hear, the birds chirping, the sun shining on your face, a cool breeze, a rainstorm, whatever your safe place is, that's going to help reduce a lot of that stress
Mhm.
and a lot of that anxiety as well.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah.
Those are good. I know, in those moments when, because for me at least, I think I struggle with taking the time, taking breaks. To be completely honest,
Yeah.
I think like knowing when to
Mhm.
like step away,
Right.
when like when to pause, when to reset, when to ask for support. Like how
Especially
can
when
I
something
pay
feels so
attention to that?
urgent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trust your body.
Mhm.
Um, your body will let you know when you're reaching that point
Yeah.
where you need to take a break or you
Yeah.
need to step away.
Mhm.
You're going to experience physiological sensations.
Mhm.
Your neck is going to get tight. Your shoulders are going to get stiff. You
Mhm.
might find yourself bouncing your leg,
Mhm.
nervous habit, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You might experience a little discomfort in your stomach.
Yeah.
I mean, trust your body, pay attention to those signs. And when you start experiencing those, get up and go for a walk. Take a 15-minute walk around the block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go get you a glass of water or a bottle of water or something and just take 15 minutes to yourself.
Mhm.
But step away from, don't take breaks at your desk. Don't take breaks in your office. Get
Yeah.
away, go
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Yeah. I
You
think
know.
that is super, and I need to do better at doing
Yeah.
that because sometimes I think me stepping away from my computer, but I'm in my office is a
Yeah.
break, but really, no, like I'm still in that office work
Yeah.
mode mindset, but stepping completely away and going for a walk, I think would be really
Absolutely.
helpful.
Yeah.
And something that kind of goes with that I tell people is um, don't do schoolwork or job related work in bed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I've
Heard
seen
that.
Because
about that.
what happens is your brain starts to condition itself to realize this is not where I sleep, this is
Yeah.
where I work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep those things
Separate.
separate. Never
100%.
ever, perform any work related or school related
Yeah.
tasks in bed.
Yeah.
You have a designated spot
Yeah.
in your home, or you've got your office where your desk and your computer are, and that's where you do that.
Yeah. So David, what I'm hearing is it's a lot of, controlling your environment and
Yeah,
and that also extends to your body.
right. And conditioning your mind and your thought processes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I've had this tell myself as if I'm a child that, you can't think when you need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
You can't think when you need to
I,
eat.
Yeah,
You can't think when you're tired. And those are all instances to stop working immediately.
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
also was told once by the same employer that I talked about earlier. She had told me when I would get like super overwhelmed by the workload that I had, and I felt like I have to finish it, like I've got to be done with it today. And in some tasks, yes, but she would always remind me, hey, like work is going to be here tomorrow.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Like you can go.
It
You
won't go
can,
anywhere.
it's not, you
Yeah.
can step away. So I think that was really helpful. That also kind of took some ease off of me knowing like, okay, I can set a healthy boundary with work.
Absolutely. Because
Yeah.
if you don't, you're putting that pressure on yourself. And what's going to happen is you're going to create that fatigue.
Yeah.
You're going to create that anxiety.
Oh, and burnout. You're going to be
Absolutely.
burnt out.
Burnout is a real thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Um, and then kind of moving into
Those boundaries. Yeah.
yeah, boundaries because we are kind of talking a little bit about that, but like um how to say like how do you instill boundaries? I am still personally working on how to, what are healthy boundaries?
Mhm.
What are good boundaries? How to establish those and also like stick with them.
Mhm.
Do you
Yeah.
have any tips for that?
So you
How
have,
you can do that in the workplace?
sure, absolutely. You have to identify the things that are causing you distress.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You have to identify the people who are
Mhm.
causing you distress.
Mhm.
Once you do that, then you're going to start developing your boundaries. Let's say, for example, um, you come to my office every day and dip into my candy basket
Mhm.
like you used to do.
Yeah,
She did. She would walk into my office every day and I would have to constantly
was
restock like twice a week because
yes.
Maddie would show up.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you're coming in there and you're dipping into the candy
Mhm.
basket and it's costing me, quite a bit of money to keep it
Mhm.
stocked up and I keep it stocked up for clients.
Mhm.
You know, I might say to you, Maddie, I don't mind sharing the candy with you, but I do try to provide it for the
Yeah.
clients. If you could maybe participate in
Mhm.
keeping it
Yeah.
stocked up, that would be very much appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, you so now you have an option. You can
Mhm.
either agree to do so or
Mhm.
you can ignore me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you ignore me, I'm
Mhm.
probably going to set a boundary where I put the candy basket away.
Yeah.
When you come in, it's not going to be sitting on the shelf where it usually
Yeah.
does. Then you might say, "Where's the candy basket?" And I
Yeah.
said, "Well,
No
I
cake.
asked you to help me, keep the basket
Mhm.
full when you
Mhm.
chose not to,
Mhm.
so I have put it away."
Yeah.
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 So that's
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 a that's a
that's
good
setting a
example.
boundary,
Yeah.
and you have to a lot of times you have to make yourself stick to it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's hard for some people to enforce a boundary.
Yeah.
That comes with practice and willpower,
No,
Yeah.
truly. I
So,
think practice is big
yeah.
because I think the first time establish one, it's always kind of hard to stick with because
Yeah.
you get that mentality of like, oh, I feel bad or
Right.
there's
Also might feel like you don't actually have to deserve that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's me, I'll handle it,
Yeah.
this little bit of discomfort, it's just,
Yeah.
affecting me. It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
And that goes back to like we were saying, David, with self-love and confidence
Mhm.
of like really like advocating for yourself in all capacities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's big. I think too, in those situations when you are interacting with, sorry, I'm looking at the time. It is 3:30. So,
Yeah, we'll get
I
questions here.
will, yeah, we'll get questions here in a minute, but I'll say this real quick. I think, I like in those moments where, let's say you have a coworker who loves drama or
Yeah.
likes to talk about other people in the workplace,
Mhm.
because you will have those people.
Oh yeah.
I
That's the
have
whole
had
life.
one at every single job, and it really affected me mentally. And like also, I started engaging in that. So in those type of like positions or circumstances, how can I establish a boundary with that, or like um how can um I don't know, take a step back, or I don't know, what would that be? I know people probably handle that, have to deal with workplace drama
So let
and
me make sure I'm understanding your question. So you're asking if Catherine were to
Mhm.
come to you and say, "Oh my God, did you hear about Eric?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every
That
day.
kind of thing.
Every day.
Every
Like
day.
every day,
Okay.
like,
I can't stop.
or
Yeah.
just talking negatively about the
Every
job or the company.
Okay.
And like it's starting to affect your mental health, which then affects your performance.
Yeah. So I've actually been in that similar situation.
Yeah.
I have had a coworker come to me and complain about her salary
Mhm.
or,
Yeah.
not happy with certain things that are going on within the company.
Mhm.
And it would happen constantly. It was
Yeah.
almost a daily thing.
Yeah.
And I finally got to the point one day, and I was trying not to hurt this individual's
Yeah.
feelings, but it got to the point where it was so consistent and so, I mean, every day
Yeah.
that I finally just said to the individual, I understand where you're coming from, but you have to remember that when you accepted this position,
Mhm.
you knew what your salary was going to be.
Yeah.
You knew what the work related demands were going to be.
Yes.
You do have a choice of whether you want to be here or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can do that in a kind and respectful way,
Yeah.
but it also gets the point across to that individual that basically you don't want to hear them complain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's big, how you are even just in a job setting, how you are handling yourself and being
Yeah.
respectful and how your feelings towards a job. Not no job is perfect,
Mhm.
Yeah.
at all. And no, you're not always gonna have just the
Right.
best people to work with. But if you I think we just have to do the best that we can. We
Right.
can control our actions and our responses.
And that's the thing right there. You have total control
Mm-hmm.
over how you respond and how
Mm-hmm.
you react in the words that come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
You have zero control over how Catherine's going to act or
Yeah.
what she's going to say,
Or even what I think about
or
it.
even what she thinks.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the only thing you can do is control your reactions.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And when she comes to you with the negativity,
Mm-hmm.
kind of turn that back on her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I understand where you're coming from. However, you knew what it was going to be like
Yeah.
working
Yeah.
here. You knew what the salary would
Yeah.
be,
Yeah.
or you knew what the conditions would be,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you had free choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that will kind of shut that whole
Mhm.
process down.
Yeah. I was thinking I probably should let other people ask questions. I probably should give time for other people to ask questions. I had a question that I had thought of, but I'll let if we have time at the end, I'll ask it. So you go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was going to see, Heather, do we have any questions in the chat right now? If not, I can get up. It's just going to be very funny
We
when we get very
do.
close to the camera.
We have some.
Yes. So one question that was put in the chat was, do you have any tips on increasing frustration tolerance?
Oh, good question. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Jumping right in.
Let's see. Increasing frustration tolerance. So that's a really good question.
I think,
I think we've kind of covered a lot of that.
Mhm.
Frustration is going to happen.
Yeah.
And when it does, take a break.
Mhm.
Get up, get away from your desk, get away from your computer, take a walk around the block, go get a snack,
Yeah.
go get some protein in you, get a cold bottle of water. Separating yourself from the situation that's currently causing the frustration
Mhm.
is probably the best way to handle that.
Yeah. So maybe not so much like, increasing your threshold of frustration management, but more of like, how do you manage that frustration?
Right, exactly. And that's one of the best ways to do it is just take a break, step
Yeah.
away. The other would be using some of those coping skills that
Mhm.
Yeah.
there's a breathing technique called 478. The way it works is you inhale for 4 seconds
Yeah.
through the nose, of course. You hold that breath for 7 and you exhale through the mouth for 8 seconds.
Okay.
5 or 6 times of that is going to help reduce anxiety.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's going to help reduce frustration.
Mhm.
It's also great if you have trouble sleeping at night. You're laying in bed, you run through that technique 5 or 6 times,
Mhm.
you will get drowsy, you will fall asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does that kind of like for those of us who might be curious, like how does that actually work with managing anxiety?
So what you're doing is you're with the inhale and
Hmm.
holding that breath, you're getting oxygen to the brain.
Okay.
Okay. That's going to create a sense of relaxation.
Hmm.
By exhaling, you're getting that carbon dioxide out.
Yeah.
So just increasing oxygen to the brain, you're you're increasing, the feel good hormones. So that's how that kind of works. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Something I wanted to just pick your brain about real fast because it's on that, especially with the breathing, is I struggled a lot with just anxiety and I would cry.
Mhm.
Just like I'd go to the DMV and be like, I have the wrong piece of paper, and then I'd just be in tears because I
Yeah.
have the wrong piece of paper.
Yeah.
And something I was recommended was that box breathing,
Hmm.
and how you do. And she recommended it because the way my diaphragm actually like massages the vagus nerve
Uh-huh.
on your back. And so I was curious, like, how you felt about that. If you felt that that might also be like, does my diaphragm actually do that?
Uh, yeah, absolutely. And
Okay.
and I have done quite a bit of study on the vagus nerve,
Yeah.
um, stimulating that vagus nerve. And there are some great exercises. I can't think of any of them off the top of my head,
Hmm.
but if you go to YouTube and type in, just vagus nerve exercises, there's a lady on YouTube named Suki Roberts,
Okay.
and she does a lot of teaching on vagus nerve stimulation and
Hmm.
how it provides relief, how it provides a reduction in the anxiety. A lot of benefits to vagus nerve exercises.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you for sharing that.
that is actually a great
Yeah, I
technique.
was just curious hearing you talk, and you said so much vocabulary words. I have to go Google later.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to pick your brain on that one. But that was a great
Yeah,
question.
that's a great question.
Just about like managing that stress. I'm so sorry you have frustration. We definitely all do, but don't beat yourself out about having to feel like you have to have a certain threshold to manage that. Just let's just
Yeah,
manage.
don't allow your frustration to increase. I
Yeah.
mean, don't think by building a higher level of
Yeah.
frustration tolerance, you're doing a thing, because all you're doing is increasing your anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So walk away, take a
Yeah.
break, do some
Yep.
breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
That is great. Heather, do we have any other questions?
Yes, we have one more.
Mhm.
Setting boundaries with parents can be very different
Mhm.
than peers or coworkers, and parents often violate those boundaries. How can this be done better?
Mhm.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. So
Mhm.
so
We're all children here.
we had this conversation in session this morning with a client. So
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
Families. More times than not, someone related to you,
Hmm.
mom, dad, brother, sister,
Yeah.
cousin, grandma, you
Mhm.
choose, will take advantage of you more than a close friend
Yeah.
Mhm.
because they feel closer to you.
Hmm.
And I teach people all the time that families, you have to learn to set stricter
You
boundaries
do. Yeah.
and enforce those harder
Hmm.
with families than you do
Your
your
coworker.
Yeah.
coworkers
That's
or
crazy.
your best friend, because family knows you.
Hmm.
Family will take advantage of you quicker than anybody else.
Mhm.
So determine what boundaries you feel are being violated.
Yeah.
What is it the family is doing that makes you feel disrespected
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
unworthy or not heard?
Hmm.
And then you're going to have to develop a much stronger boundary with that family member than you do a coworker or a friend.
Yeah.
They're they're going to be harder to enforce
Yeah.
Yeah.
because the family will push you to the limits.
Yeah.
Um, but you have to stick to your guns,
Yeah.
stand your ground, and just let them know, look, I don't feel heard. I don't feel respected. I feel like I'm being taken advantage of,
Hmm.
and I am not going to do whatever it is they're trying to get you to do,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Sometimes, like, sometimes you don't always recognize that, I
Yeah.
think, and sometimes you need maybe like person, maybe even outside your
Mhm.
family, like a counselor
Right.
or a mentor of some sort to kind of,
Talk you through it.
talk you through
Yeah.
it, because I know there's been times where, I'll talk about an instance and I'll be like, whoa, actually, that was
Not
very
good.
unhealthy.
Yeah.
That wasn't good. I didn't
Mhm.
realize that. So like sometimes it is hard to point them out yourself, to recognize themselves yourself. So if you do need like a mentor or a counselor or a
Yeah.
therapist of some sort, like don't be ashamed of that. That
Yeah.
is I
People need people.
yes, we
Yeah.
do. We
Absolutely.
truly do.
Absolutely.
So being able to honestly just have some just someone to speak life into you, like just really speak words of encouragement and just truth, like someone that you feel safe with who can speak truth
Yeah.
into you.
Well, and that's one of the things we do in therapy too, is, I don't sit there and say to you, oh, that's a boundary violation and that you
Yeah.
need to do
Yeah.
A, B,
Yeah.
C, and D. You
Yeah.
need to do these
Yeah.
things to shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm helping you doing is learning to identify
Yeah.
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 those boundary
Yeah.
violations. And then through a series of, motivational interviewing or, questioning,
Mm-hmm.
helping you
Mm-hmm.
come up with
Yes.
solutions. It's
Yes.
called solution focused brief therapy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And through that process, we help you learn to identify the boundaries that are
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
violated
Mhm.
and the solutions you need to come up
Yeah.
with to kind of shut that down.
Yeah, because no one can enforce boundaries for you.
Right.
Yeah.
No one can, same with like advocating for yourself in the workplace. Like
Mhm.
no one can force you to advocate for yourself in the workplace.
Right.
And no one is gonna, not nobody, but likely no one's gonna do it for you.
Yeah.
And so it's really important that you can recognize these things and advocate for yourself. And that's in a
Absolutely.
boundary setting. That is in
Yeah.
a workplace setting. That kind of goes across the board there, I feel like.
Yeah. It goes back to that confidence
Yes.
of being
Yes.
confident in yourself.
Yes.
You do deserve things.
Yeah.
And then having, the tools to do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
So yeah.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to ask for help either.
Absolutely not. There's asking for help is not a sign of weakness. And
Yeah.
so
It's not.
don't be afraid to reach out to coworkers, friends, family, whatever, if
Yeah.
you need that assistance.
Yeah.
All right.
Is there
Yeah.
anything else, Heather? Are there any other questions before I know we're nearing the end? Um, but I want to leave.
There are not any more questions in the chat, but I did find the YouTube video from Suki Baxter that David mentioned, and I put a link
Okay.
to that in the chat
Ah,
as well.
Baxter. Yes, I got the
you.
last name wrong. I'm sorry.
Hey, you got
It's okay.
a lot
We
in.
figured
Yeah.
it out.
So
Thank you. Well,
wonderful. And those, Heather, there's several of those. They are really great videos. So if I encourage everybody to go to YouTube, they are free. Suki Baxter,
Mhm.
vagus nerve stimulation. They're
Yeah.
tremendous videos and very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do your research.
Yes.
What knowledge is out there. You just have
Yeah.
to go find it.
is there any last things
Yeah, you have
that you
anything
want
to
to
say?
say of like encouragement or just importance
No
when
pressure.
So yeah, so I mean, we've talked a lot about stress, we've talked
Yeah.
a lot about anxiety, and medication
Mhm.
is needed sometimes, so
Mhm.
Yeah.
don't be afraid to go that route if you have to. But one of the things that I teach most of my folks, I'm real big on holistic approaches.
Yeah.
When you find yourself experiencing anxiety, when you find yourself experiencing depression,
Mhm.
when you find yourself feeling overwhelmed, the things that I teach is get up, get out, get active.
Yeah.
So
Move.
healthy, balanced meals, get that protein, lay off the Twinkies, the donuts, the cupcakes. Those carbs, those sugars contribute to that depressive mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
They
do.
really do.
Yeah.
Get active. Go for a walk 3 times a week, 15 minutes.
Mhm.
I don't care if it's around the block. I don't care if it's down at the riverfront. You don't necessarily have to go to the gym to exercise.
Around your living room.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A walk around the house. Grab your dog and go for a walk. 3 times a day, 15 minutes. Water, 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 water,
Yeah,
water. Lay
hydration.
off the coffee, lay off the tea,
Mhm.
lay off the caffeine. Try to get water in your system to stay hydrated.
Yeah.
And then finally, sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep is so important.
Yeah.
Uh, I recommend no less than 6 hours a night. But if you will do those things,
Hmm.
that will significantly reduce your anxiety and reduce your depressive moods.
Yeah.
Um, in most cases. Now, there are those cases where depression is a chemical imbalance, and
Yeah.
that's where the
You hit a wall.
medication comes in handy. But for the most part, get up, get out, get active.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so
You know,
much.
thank you, David. Thank you
Yeah.
all for joining us today. If you would like to contact any of us, please reach out via our website. We have a contacts page. I just don't want to drop my email in the chat, and then this whole thing goes away, and then you can't get to it. David, if anyone would like to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to do that?
They can reach me at Centers for Youth and Family. My email address is dwight, and that's WRIGHT, at thecentersar.com.
Okay, yeah.
Or you can reach me. My office number is 501-660-6893. I'm extension 1799. If you feel that um, therapy would be something you would benefit from, give us a call.
Mm.
We would be more than happy to get you in, do our assessment process, and get you fixed up.
That's awesome. We'll reiterate his contact information in the show notes when we post this on YouTube. And I do just want to bring it home as well of just how important independence is, because if you can't be independent, you can't have that confidence. And if you can't have that confidence, you can't set your boundaries and you can't advocate for yourself. So take the independence that you have, always look to make it more, because, we all struggle out there. But no, you've got someone for you. So please reach out if y'all need anything. Y'all have a wonderful May and enjoy this Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
And I'll jump in just real quick
Yay.
along
Okay.
these lines. Our next webinar is going to be on June 11th at 2 p.m. Central, and we're extremely excited to be hosting Be My Eyes. They are going to be doing a demonstration and a presentation on the new Be My Eyes workplace app, which is designed to provide desktop support in a job setting for people similar to what you get from the mobile app on that everybody's used to on your iPhone. So June 11th at 2 p.m., make sure you put that on your calendar and tune in, because we'll be talking to Be My Eyes.
Yeah, 2 p.m.
Nice.
June 11th. That's
I
exciting.
will be watching that.
Oh yeah. That is just so cool. Y'all don't miss it. But thank you so much, Heather. We really appreciate your help.
No problem.
Yeah. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.